Hello guys, if you don't know me and if you don't know my channel, my name is Gabriela and this is your Brazilian Spot. Here I share everything related to Brazil, news, language, curiosity, history and etc. Today is the third video that I'm doing of the 30 days learning Portuguese here in your Brazilian Spot. I'm posting every day videos during 30 days giving you tips about Portuguese and teaching you some Portuguese. And today in this video I'm gonna tell you some things that people usually speak wrong, some common pronunciation mistakes that people sometimes struggle when they're trying to learn Portuguese. This can be for several reasons. It depends on the language that the person speaks, like their native language, or depends on their knowledge about other languages. They can have different mistakes, but these mistakes I see them a lot because some of the situations they are very specific from I think all of them actually of the Portuguese language, and that's why you see some people making different mistakes but about the same thing, if it makes sense. For example, we have a mistake but a French native speaker will commit mistake pronunciation saying in a way, and an English native speaker will commit another mistake in the same thing, because they speak different language. So anyways, first mistake is with chill. I probably spoke about it in some videos here in the channel before, but I don't think I went like too deep in this. I probably explained a few things, but here I will just say about the pronunciation of this. Okay, when we have chill, we use a very nasal sound that it's not easy for everyone to say. I think this is very Portuguese, like it's very specific from the Portuguese language. Usually people say when they see chill, their tendency is to say ow, ow. So this is not the correct way. We would say oh. Imagine that it comes from your nose. Oh. And I know it's complicated, it's kind of weird because it's not something I've seen in any other language, to be really honest. So some people struggle because, for example, we have the word pão. Pão is bread, but people say pau. And this also can be, well, pau, it can be a stick, but it can also be in you know, about the male genitals. So some people avoid to say this word just to don't commit this mistake. And I always have these students who say, oh my god, how can I actually speak it? Let's you know, practice this more because I don't want to commit this mistake. Go to a bakery and ask for a pão. No, pão. Okay, so well, to do some practice, as always, I will tell you some words and I want you to repeat it with me, okay? Pão, mão, mamão, Japão, botão. Again, pão, mamão, Japão, botão. Well, I imagine that now it's clear how you pronunciate words with chill, okay? I didn't tell you words, for example, that you would use the chill on the letter O, but it just came to my mind. I didn't put it in my script, but I will tell you some words. Usually it's in the plural, okay? Corações, armações, canções. So different of A, that is like oing, but it still is a nasal sound. Yeah, basically that's it. A second common mistake, the pronunciation of the letter L. In fact, I have a video here in the channel, I'll leave it in the cards, that I'm explaining more about the letter L. I feel like some letters in Portuguese, it's nice to have a video just to explain about them because they can have some variations, some specific, you know, situations, and I think L is one of these words. Common mistake is when this letter comes in the end of a word, okay, or before a consonant. And I understand why, because if you are a Spanish speaker, for example, a native speaker, you would use L. The letter L is very, I don't know, it's L. It's like you pronunciate like this. And if you are an English speaker as well, right? As well. So in this case, it makes sense to always believe that if you have any word that finishes in L, it's going to be L, your pronunciation. But in Portuguese, it's not. We don't say, maybe in Portugal, that would be different. I'm not quite sure, but like in Brazil, if we have an L in the end of a word, we pronounce it like you, but not like you like we don't say Brazil. No, it's Brazil, for example. So the L becomes like U, because the letter U in Portuguese is U. So you just imagine that you need to say U when there's an L in the end of a word or before a consonant. Let's go to the examples. Mal, mel, gel, Miguel, papel. Again, mal, mel, gel, Miguel, papel. Now I'll give you some examples if it's before a consonant, okay? Alquimia, moldura, baldeação, Belgrado, dálmata. So don't forget it. If it's before a consonant or in the end of the word, always the sound of U. The next common mistake is the letter M in the end of a word. Okay, so if it's in the end of a word, basically, for example, the name Sam. If it's M, you is like if you close your mouth, Sam. And for me, that was very weird when I was learning English because for us in Portuguese, at least in Brazil, we kind of pronunciate, if it's an M in the end of a word, we would just say san. Like we pronunciate this as if it's an N, for example. It's not really clear for us if it's an N or M, but the words never finish in N in Portuguese. So it's kind of obvious that it's going to be M. That makes sense. Okay, let's see some words that finish in M. Garagem, tem, viagem, vagem, trem. Garagem, tem, viagem, vagem, trem. So basically there is no difference for us. It could be like trem is like train, right? It's the same way to speak, like as if it was an N in English. And obviously I see many of my students, especially English speakers, native speakers, they pronounce like viagem, vagem. They make sure to close their mouth like if they're actually pronouncing M, but in a Portuguese word. So it's not necessary. It's actually weird if you do it. Tem, no, tem, okay? The next common mistake is not because this sound doesn't exist in another language or something like this, like the nasal sound, but it's because, for example, I see this in Spanish, the same sound, but it's not in the same situation. So while in Brazil we use NH for the sound of ñ, in Spanish is N with what we call chill in Portuguese. For example, niño, right? They use this N with chill, and we use NH for the same sound. Ñ, ñ, ña, nhé, okay? Let's see some examples. Vinho, punho, sozinha, vizinha, sardinha. Again, vinho, punho, sozinha, vizinha, sardinha. Okay? Nha, nha, nho, nha. And yes, make sure it's NH, okay? So for who also speaks Spanish, that can be like a bit tricky. because you always think no is like this N in the Spanish way, but it's in Portuguese is not. LH. In Portuguese, LH, you would actually say lia, lyo, lye, li, okay? And in English, I know that people would say, like, for me that was really weird. There is a metro station in London that it's Ballon, but for me I would read Ballion, Ballion. So obviously I know English, so I've learned this really quick, but at the first time I was there, I was like Ballion, Ballion, and it's actually Ballon, something like this. Yeah. So let's see some words in Portuguese. Alho, telha, velha, trabalho, coelho. Alho, telha, velha, trabalho, coelho. So that was like some of the mistakes that I'm very used to see, that people usually in these situations they tend to pronounce in another way, just because in their language is different, or because they are learning a language that is similar to Portuguese but it's different. Usually people do it a lot because they're learning Spanish and they're also learning Portuguese, and they mix both things, which makes sense. But anyways, so this is like a tip for you to practice at home. Take some words, you can search some words and like speak many and many times, and you will obviously at some point remember this. I see you tomorrow. Ciao, ciao.